and welcome. This is an invitation to join us for a 30-day 100-rep movement challenge, the goal of which is to try to get you moving on most days of your life. We like to talk about the concept of a daily dose, where even though you may have some more intense training windows of your week, that most days of your life you should have some movement in. And we're not, of course, the first people to come up with this idea. So you may have heard of things like, try to get 30 days or 30 minutes of some moderate activity, government guidelines on every day. Great guideline, doesn't mean a lot, doesn't help give a lot of direction of what that involves. Or maybe you've heard of doing 10,000 steps a day. Also, wonderful, awesome. But ultimately, 10,000 steps was just an arbitrary marketing number to sell a pedometer. It doesn't have a lot of meaning or value beyond that. But both of them are great concepts of the daily dose, of like trying to get a little bit of movement going. We like to do things our own way. And 100 reps has long been a very simple, arbitrary marker of bringing some good active movement into your life. The nice thing about doing 100 reps of something, especially with the kind of movements that we're going to be doing them with, is that you can get a lot more value out of a lot less time. So this is not going to take 30 minutes. I don't know how long it takes you to get 10,000 steps, but it will not take that long to get these 100 reps in for you. And you will get a lot more out of doing 30 days of these kinds of movements than you would doing those kinds of things. So it will take a little bit of learning. There's 3 different movements. If you don't, I should say a little bit of learning if you haven't had any experience with these movements before. 3 movements, the swing movement. Second one is called a rolling squat. And the third one is called a sit out. I'm going to give brief demonstrations of what I mean by these movements. If you don't know them, reach out to us and check out our, subscribe and search our YouTube channel. We have tutorials on all of these kinds of things. But if you want just a little bit of guidance, reach out to us. Come to our Facebook page, Gymnasium Movers group. Ask to be invited, and that's where we're going to be hosting this 30-day challenge. So I promised them just some demonstrations. So I'll give you a quick demonstration of what we mean by swing. Generally, the swing is seen as a kettlebell exercise. It is not tool specific or dependent, but I will, if you have a kettlebell at hand, when we're talking about a swing, this is the swing that we are referring to. So my spine is tall. I'm doing a hip dominant swing with my glutes and my hammies. Those pull that posterior pulling line primarily. And what I'm not doing is I'm not bending my back, and I'm not bending my knees and lifting with my knees and my back. So that's a swing. You can be done with a kettlebell. You may have a dumbbell at home. So here's a little 10-pound dumbbell. If you're using a dumbbell, don't hold it this way. Hold it like a microphone. And that's really great for in between your sets, is that you can do a little like lip syncing to whatever music you're listening to. I'm sorry for the dad joke. But here we go. The dumbbell. I'm holding with 2 hands. My palms are facing each other, but it's the same movement. Throwing in another option, here's a weight plate. This one has a handy handle, almost made to be swung. Again, same movement. A little bit of rock can be used. A duffel bag with some rice or other weights put in there. Anything really can be held. And the purpose of holding the object is that you're expressing some fluid power into the object. So it's a throwing pattern. It's a whole body throwing pattern. So you're just using that as a means of activating that pattern. So swing is number 1. Number 2 is a rolling squat. And when we say rolling squat, we're referring to this movement where arms make this circular kind of rolling pattern. Arms help to serve keeping our spine line engaged, and they also help to make the movement feel more circular. A lot of times you'll see some kind of squat where you reach out for counterbalance, all well and good. It's going to feel a lot more linear, a lot more like herky-jerky. You're just going to think about that up and down line. Whereas if you let your arms make a little circle, you'll roll one squat into the next. Notice that I am finding a full stacked line at the top. I'm not staying in the middle of my squat and just scooping. I am just using my arms to load my springs, and then my springs will unload themselves. Notice too that I'm not putting my arms out like mummy style at the top. They stay very close. They stay a little bent all the way up, just to help create that feeling of a circular rhythm. So get the energy flowing rather than trying to make it. It shouldn't be like a high tension movement. You shouldn't feel like, oh man, I'm really doing 100 reps. No, it should just flow from you. All these movements are meant to be fluid. When you're doing a lot of movement on most days of your life, best to use them more circular and more fluid rather than linear and staccato style movements. Your joints will be a lot happier for it. Last one is called a sit out. So a sit out is where I start in all fours and then I turn and I transition to all 2 points of contact and I turn my body between those two. So here I'm in all fours facing down, and then I turn and I transition to 2 points. This foot stays down. Notice I put that heel down rather than keeping my toes. This is often what happens. If this is too much movement for you, too much on your wrist, it's just too much. There's lots of different versions of this, and there's a full progression. Really, anybody can do the patterns that underlie that particular movement. But just reach out and say, I can't do that. Give me some options. Come to our Facebook, let us know what you're having trouble with, and we'll give you some guidance. Again, you can also check out our YouTube channel, Gymnasia Strength and Movement, and subscribe there and search our channel. We have a ton of videos that used to be used to help teach our coaches. Now we just make them available for anyone to use and enjoy. So check that out. So 30-day challenge. Join us on our Facebook group, Gymnasia Movers page. If you're already there, hi. That's where we're going to be hosting the challenge. And if you have any questions, just reach out. Let us know. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great September, starts the fall, and maybe we'll see you.